Why does man still need the watch to be a mechanical device?
The watch is much more than an object that's supposed to tell you time. Astonishingly enough, it's a universe in itself which lives off its own power. So in a way, it's an ecologically interesting idea.
What is Chopard?
Initially, Chopard was a watch company founded in 1860, and my father bought Chopard in 1963.
What part of Germany are you from?
We're actually from Pforzheim, and Pforzheim is known more for jewelry making.
Yes, for goldsmithing.
Goldsmithing, and also for watchmaking, but not so much.
Right.
And my grandfather made watches made of platinum, elegant watches, expensive watches.
Yes. Under which brand? Under your own?
Under our own family name. And at one point, my father, who inherited the business, decided that in order to really expand, he needed to sell his watches under a Swiss brand. Watchmaking came to Switzerland because of the Huguenots.
Yes.
And the Huguenots, when they were expulsed from France, when they had to leave different countries, they came to Switzerland.
Yes.
And at the same time, watchmaking doesn't need much natural resources.
Okay.
Watchmaking you can do in the mountains, even if it snows.
So in Germany, though, the watch culture, is it different to the Swiss watch culture?
Watchmaking in Germany has very old roots. Apart from the region of Glashütte, it never really developed that much as here, or even in England.
Yes.
In England you have some very fine watchmakers.
Yes.
But nowadays watchmaking in England is marginal.
Clear.
Watchmaking in France is marginal.
Clear.
And somehow everything converged to Switzerland.
Frederick, why are you doing this?
I always liked the arts, and I discovered that in watchmaking, in what we are doing here, it's a very interesting combination between business and something artistic, creative, innovative. And I very much enjoy this type of work because we conceive products from scratch. We follow them through all the way in our production, in our own production.
Yes.
We follow further up in the retail process. We have Chopard boutiques, and it's a very interesting and very complete.
So it's quite holistic.
Line of work.
You see from one end to the other.
It's from one end to the other, and then we are making beautiful products, products that last.
It seems that there are two people in watchmaking. You have one type, which is the watchmaker who makes the movement, and the other type who makes the case. And there's always a bit of a war between those two people.
Well, I'm really involved with both worlds. And I think a beautiful movement deserves a beautiful case.
When did you actually start working on the watch side of the business?
I started the LUC manufacture again in 1994. It's a big decision,
yes,
and at the same time it's a decision we did not regret one moment. It gives us more than a certain advantage in terms of credibility of the brand, and slowly but surely will give us a certain independence in terms of buying movement, having to buy movements elsewhere. We are making only the top of the top quality,
yes,
and therefore the quantities we produce are not so important.
In terms of your handmade movements, how many would you make a year?
At this point we are at around 3,500.
That's it?
And we're heading towards 12 to 15,000 in the next 5 years.
What do you do that's innovative and avant-garde?
We came out last year at Basel with a 4-barrel watch. The watch is called LUC Quattro,
Yes,
and it's a movement that runs for 9.5 days.
yes,
And it has these 4 barrels which have never been done before.
yes.
And this also goes to show that
You can do it.
you can do still a lot of interesting things within watchmaking, mechanical watchmaking, which is in a way people will say, oh, everything has already been done and so on.
Yeah.
So no. In selling this type of product, people like to see who is behind the product. They like to see, there is a continuation, it's a tradition, there's a family company involved.
Sure.
It's not just another name that was bought by another name, and the brand certainly is not enough in our business. The brand is certainly a reassuring, but the design element is essential. Therefore, a brand that continuously presents the same designs for 10 years is
Yes.
probably will be out. Traveling is one major aspect of having this feeling of direction, feeling where do we have to go, what we have to do.
Is your product for different regions different?
10 years ago, our products were even very much different in certain regions. I mean, the Middle East was really buying specific Middle East creations.
Clear, yeah.
But today, the world has become smaller. We have now what you call an international collection, which applies everywhere. The international approach is the approach.
What exactly do you do in the company?
One of the most important roles, I would say, on the inside the company is certainly the development of the men's line of watches,
So-
men's watches, the mechanical side, watch movements, the production side, but also organization in general, but also with Caroline together marketing aspects, promotion, advertising.
How do you marry the jewellery with the watches? Is that Caroline and yourself sitting down and fighting, or arm wrestling?
No.
No, none of that?
The interesting thing is that both sides of the business have grown at the same pace, more or less. We
Really?
are quantity-wise, we are exactly at the same level.
Seriously?
Watches and jewelry. So we are standing on 2 legs,
Yes.
which is a very comfortable position.
Are your parents still involved in the day-to-day running of the business?
They are more than involved.
Really?
Yeah,
Does
we
it
are-
drive you insane?
No.
You don't sit at the
absolutely.
kitchen, you don't sit at the table and say, Dad, get out of my watch business.
No, absolutely not, because we are big enough to have, there's a lot of room for everyone. And on the contrary, I think hopefully they will stay on for a little while, because we'd have to get organized.